What if everything we think we know about addiction is wrong? For decades, the dominant narrative has portrayed addiction as a disease solely driven by the addictive properties of drugs themselves. This chemical hook model suggests that exposure to certain substances inevitably leads to addiction, trapping individuals in a relentless cycle of craving and use. But what if this model is incomplete, a dangerous oversimplification of a complex human experience? What if the roots of addiction lie not solely within the pharmacology of drugs, but rather in the social fabric of our lives, the environments we inhabit, and the connections we forge or fail to make? The limitations of the chemical hook model become glaringly apparent when we examine real-world examples. Consider the case of medical heroin. In the United Kingdom, heroin is prescribed to patients suffering from severe pain or addiction. These patients, given a readily available and legal supply of heroin, do not typically become addicts. In fact, many are able to lead productive and fulfilling lives. Another striking example comes from the Vietnam War. A staggering 20% of American soldiers used heroin during their time in Vietnam, yet, upon returning home, 95% of these veterans were able to quit heroin without significant withdrawal symptoms or relapse. This phenomenon challenges the traditional view of heroin as an instantly and irreversibly addictive substance. These examples suggest that the chemical hook model fails to account for the crucial role of context, environment, and psychological well-being in shaping addictive behaviors. Professor Bruce Alexander's groundbreaking rat park experiment further dismantles the chemical hook myth. In this landmark study, rats were placed in two distinct environments: a standard cramped cage and a spacious, stimulating environment dubbed rat park. Both groups of rats were offered water laced with morphine. The results were striking. Rats isolated in cages consumed significantly more morphine than their counterparts in rat park. The enriched environment, with its opportunities for socialization, play, and exploration, seemed to mitigate the addictive potential of the drug. Alexander's research underscores the profound influence of environment on addiction. Deprivation, isolation, and lack of social connection appear to be driving forces behind addictive behaviors, while enriching environments can promote resilience and recovery. Section 4. Portugal's Radical Approach, Decriminalization and Connection. Portugal's groundbreaking approach to drug policy provides a compelling real-world example of the power of connection in combating addiction. In 2001, Portugal decriminalized all drugs, shifting resources from punishment to treatment and harm reduction. Central to Portugal's strategy is a focus on reintegrating individuals into society. Instead of incarceration, those struggling with addiction are offered support, therapy, and opportunities to rebuild their lives. The results of Portugal's revolutionary approach have been nothing short of remarkable. Drug-related deaths have plummeted, HIV infection rates have decreased dramatically, and addiction rates have fallen below the European average. Section 5. The social roots of addiction, isolation, trauma, and despair. The evidence is clear. Addiction is not simply a matter of chemical hooks. It is a complex interplay of biological, psychological, and social factors. While the addictive properties of drugs cannot be ignored, it is increasingly evident that environment and social connection play a pivotal role in shaping vulnerability to addiction. Individuals experiencing social isolation, trauma, childhood abuse, chronic stress, or a lack of purpose and meaning in their lives are far more susceptible to addiction. These adverse experiences create a void, a sense of disconnection and despair that individuals may seek to numb or escape through substance use. Addiction, then, can be seen as a misguided attempt to cope with pain, trauma, and a lack of belonging. It is a desperate cry for connection in a world that often feels isolating and unforgiving. Section 6. A call to action, reframing addiction and embracing compassion. The emerging understanding of addiction as a social and environmental issue demands a radical shift in our approach to this global crisis. We must move away from the punitive, stigmatizing models of the past and embrace a more compassionate, humane, and evidence-based approach. This means investing in social support systems, creating opportunities for meaningful connection, and addressing the root causes of addiction, poverty, trauma, and social isolation. It means treating individuals struggling with addiction not as criminals, but as human beings deserving of our empathy, understanding, and support. By reframing addiction through a social lens, we can begin to dismantle the stigma, shame, and isolation that so often accompany this disease. We can create a world where individuals struggling with addiction are met not with judgment, but with open arms and a pathway to healing and recovery. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content on important social issues.